Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, or as I always say, thank you for joining me, for allowing me to bake, no bake, prep, cook your day my way. I hope everyone is having a wonderful Saturday. I hope your day is going great as mine. I have no complaints, of course. So today I'm not going to be cooking. I'm not going to bake anything. I'm not going to cook anything. Not going to per se prep, or this is a DIY as well. So what I'm going to do today is it is like a tonic is what we've always called it, and it is called fire cider, and of course it's made from a base apple cider vinegar. All right, so this is homemade fire cider, and it is like a spicy, pungent, like I said, herbal tonic. It has like kind of a hot, spicy, and sweet taste to it, because all of the ingredients are ingredients that we say come from the garden to the jar. It's stuff that you usually grow at home, or if you don't grow it, you can actually find it at your local grocery store. All right. So this is something that is good for treating colds, treating flus, anyone who has sinus issues, any type of upper respiratory issue. This is a very good folklore or homemade remedy that works. I'm a chronic sinus sufferer. I'm sure from time to time you can tell. And this is something that I usually prep the 1st of September, and I'm kind of a few days off, but that's okay. I had to wait until my local store got some horseradish in because I don't really grow it. So I was able to pick some up on yesterday. So I usually do it on the 1st because this is something that you usually ferment anywhere from like 30 to 90 days. This is like from 1 month to 3. It just depends. And depending on the ingredients you use and whether you grate them or if you chop them up, and a couple of other factors we'll talk about as we start the prep. All right. So let's, without saying any more, let's get to it. I have already pre-washed all of the vegetables. I've pre-washed the herbs. I've pre-washed my jalapeno peppers. I've pre-washed the lemon and the orange in the organic fit fruit wash. I soaked them this morning and allowed them to dry. As you see in the opening image, I have everything in front of me that I'm going to need. I've already pre-cut everything, and I've already sliced and peeled, and so I'm ready to add it to the jar. All right, so you can make as much of this as you would like, or as less of this as you would like. You can do it like in a quart, you can do it in a pint, you can do a half a gallon, you can actually do a gallon. But I don't do a large vessel because it's only 2 of us. And this goes a long way because you're only going to do it in the mornings, and you're going to do like a little shot glass or about 2 tablespoons. And you can actually, if it's too pungent for you, too spicy, you can actually dilute it and use it that way. So a little goes a long way. And since the cold months, this is September, this will be ready if you let it sit September, October, November, December, depending on how long you let it sit. I usually let mine sit for a month, and I check it because I shake it daily and I keep it in a dark, warm place. Most people leave theirs sitting on the countertop, and of course it's going to take longer because it's supposed to be in a dark area, and so it takes about 3 months. If you use a larger vessel, then you definitely will probably have to wait roughly about 2 to 3 months for yours to actually start the ferment process. All right. So without further ado, fire cider is made by Rosemary. Her last name is Gladstar. Rosemary Gladstar. She was the first like homesteader who used to make this, and her recipe has kind of been modified over the years, and usually it just depends on what's in season, and as I said earlier, what you have in your garden. All right. So, and you do want the spicier herbs. So what we're going to start with here is I've cut up a half a cup of onion, and I'm using a white onion. You can't use a red onion, you can use a yellow onion, whatever you have on hand. You're going to have a half a cup, and you just place this in the bottom. I always start with the onion. And then I have anywhere from 8 to 10 garlic cloves, depending on how small yours are or how large they are. And you do need to slice them. You don't want to use the whole garlic clove. The object is to expose to the apple cider vinegar so that it extracts out what you need. This is a fermentation, but it's an extraction process that takes place. It's going to pull out all of the antimicrobial, antioxidants, antiviral properties that these herbs actually have. And this is for immunity boost. All right, so then I sliced up a half a cup of ginger. Now you can grate the ginger and also the horseradish. I actually chopped mine, but you can actually grate it if you would like. You can grate it. So then you put your horseradish in. Horseradish, whether you grate it or chop it, it has a very strong odor that's released. So be very careful if you're not used to working with it. It'll open up your sinuses for you. All right. Then I chopped up a half a cup of fresh turmeric. Everything you want it to be fresh, okay? As fresh as possible, right? Then you're gonna put in 1 lemon. I just sliced it. Okay. And you're gonna add 1 large orange. Right. Now I peeled my orange because I did not have an organic orange. If you have organic oranges, you just slice and dice and place it in. I purchased this one and it wasn't organic. I washed it and cleaned it really good and I peeled it. And so I have my orange in here. If you would like to use a grapefruit, you can also use a grapefruit. All right, the next thing you're gonna add is going to be two cinnamon sticks, two whole cinnamon sticks. And you just put them in wherever you want them. I just push mine down the sides. You wanna make sure that everything is level. Okay, the next thing that you're gonna add, I'm gonna add some crushed red pepper. And you want it to be a spicy, okay? So this one's gonna be 1 tablespoon of crushed red pepper. If you have dried pepper or if you have some peppers right out of your garden, you can use those as well. I'm just using the flakes here. So crushed. Last year my red peppers did exceptionally well, and this year they didn't do much of anything. And the next thing you're gonna add is going to be your peppercorns, which is gonna be for absorption. It's so that once you do your extraction, the body is able to absorb the benefits. So about 15, I usually do 1 tablespoon of peppercorn, right? I am a huge fan of cloves, a huge fan. I love cloves. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of organic cloves. Because you know cloves are very pungent as well. All right. All right. So that's that. The next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna add 2 jalapeno peppers. Now I did not cut the jalapenos up. These are the last, and you want to cut them with the seed. You want the seeds to be included in the and you just cut them up into cubes. Nothing fancy. I always save the jalapenos for last. Now if you want to use red peppers only, you can. If you have habaneros and you would like to use your habanero peppers, you may use those as well. It's like I said, whatever you have that you grew in your garden, you can use that. Okay, so I have 2 jalapenos with the seeds. Okay. The next thing you're gonna add is going to be some rosemary, basil, and thyme. So you want to add, I'm adding 2 sprigs of rosemary, and I actually broke it in half when I washed it. So I'm adding 2 sprigs of rosemary. Okay. And I have 2 sprigs of basil. And then I have 4 sprigs of thyme. And it's all been washed and cleaned. Right? I told you grow this stuff in your garden. You can just pull it right out and clean it up and put it in your jar and you're good to go. All right? So now, you can add fruit, any fruit that you would like. If you, besides the lemon and the orange, or grapefruit if you have it. If you would like to add cranberries, you may add cranberries, blackberries, peach, currants. I'm going to add blueberries because, as you know, like cloves, blueberries are one of my favorites. And they do have anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, antibacterial properties. So this is a cup of blueberries. I'm just going to place these on the top because they're going to float anyway. All fruit will float. There's nothing wrong with it when you see it floating. You just have to shake it to make sure it becomes reconstituted into your fire cider. And that is something that you do daily. Now, as far as the container, I prefer to use the glass container, and I prefer to use the glass container with the wooden lid, and it has a clamp where it has a good seal. Because if you use a mason jar, which you can use, you've got to put a piece of cheesecloth, or you need to put a piece of parchment paper between that metal and the actual items in the container, because it's very acidic. And so it will, because this is a fermentation, it's a chemical reaction that takes place, and that is a metal, and it will react. It'll start degrading, as a matter of fact. So you would want to put a piece of parchment paper or a piece of cheesecloth between your items in the jar and the lid. So I always buy the jars that have like the wooden lid and just have the metal clamp, so I don't have to worry about it. It's not going to touch anything because the lid is actually wood. Right? So now I have everything in the jar, and look how beautifully arranged this is. Do we need to turn this light on so we can actually see better? See how beautifully arranged? Look at the colorimetrics of it. Everything natural, right? Very, very beautiful, right? So this is what it's going to look like. And you can place yours in your jar however you would like. There's no right or wrong way. I just usually start with onions, and then I do my garlic, and then ginger and turmeric, all of the things that are going to be, and then I kind of space between the horseradish and the turmeric, the lemon and the actual orange, which are citric acids, and then I have my jalapenos, and then of course I'm going to top it off with the blueberries for the extraction on that part. Right. So now I'm ready for my final ingredient, and the final ingredient is going to be the raw, unfiltered apple cider. I can't even talk. Raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar, and this one does have the with the mother, and I'll show you how to make apple cider vinegar soon, I hope. But this is Bragg's. I know there's a lot of controversy with Bragg's right now, but I've used Bragg's for years, and I like Bragg's. If you don't want to use Bragg's, you can buy any of the other brands. Just make sure that it has the mother, or you can make your own. All right, so that's why everybody wants to complain about certain things, but you know, stop complaining about the big box stores and complain about all of the things that are there, and be a DIY, do it yourself. All right, and then you won't have anything to complain about. Because if you have a complaint, you don't have nobody to blame them but yourself. Right. Nothing is perfect, remember that, and no one is perfect. All right, so now I'm going to add the apple cider vinegar. And you want to add the apple cider vinegar until you cover the top of your container, of the items in the container. You want to cover the top of them. Usually about 2 to 3 inches above. Of course, I'm not going to get, I'm about an inch and a half above. But I'm going to shake this daily. So tonight I'll shake it, and if I can add some more apple cider vinegar to it, I will. So you'll add it almost took the whole bottle, probably about, I'll say about a cup left. Okay, and you don't want to put too much because remember you have to close it, you have to seal it. All right, so let's see how well did I do. Oh, I did good. Perfect. So I'm going to give this a good seal, and I'm going to clamp it on in place. There we go. Now, this is ready to be stored. Again, you store it in a dark place, like dark warm place, like in the bottom of cabinet. Well, this is at the bottom of the top, but it has to be somewhere that you don't usually open. I actually have an island here that it's movable. I can move it around. So I have one spot in here that I don't really open this side. So I'm going to place this down here in the back. And then I remember, now you don't want it to be out of sight, out of mind, because you need to remember it's there, because you need to make sure you shake it every day. That's the key. So you shake it every day. And once, like I said, for this, about a month will be good. But if I did a larger vessel, I would probably do about 2 to 3, probably 3-month fermentation on it. And that's good enough. The longer you let it ferment, the more pungent it's going to be. If I let this go for 3 months, it's going to be very pungent. All right, so I'm going to let mine go probably for about a month. And then I'm going to pick you back up in that month when I pull it out and show you the last step. So what you do in the end is, once you have it fermented, you'll take it and you can use cheesecloth, or you can use a colander that has the very small pores in it, like the one I usually use to sift, because you don't want to collect any of your solids. You want to filter, drain, collect the liquid, which is the fire cider, and then you can store it in a container. And make sure it's a container that has a top. Now, you can store it on your counter if you would like, but the best practice is to store it in the refrigerator and then remove it and prepare the shots, or to do the dilutions at that point, as opposed to just leaving it out on the counter. I usually store mine in the refrigerator in an airtight bottle, and I pour it out, like I get a little shot glass and pour it in, and I'll do maybe 2 tablespoons. And I also, when you take it out and you filter it, you need to make sure, now this is optional. Some people don't, I do. You can add anywhere from 1/2 to a cup of honey, and make sure it's local honey, not just any honey. Make sure it's local honey to get the best benefits. So 1/2 cup to 1 cup of honey, and warm the honey first. And then once you've drained it, add the warm honey to your fire cider. You're warming it so that it will mix well with the fire cider, right? And then you're ready to store it. Don't forget the honey, because I do want it to be a little bit sweet. I don't want it to be too pungent, all right? So then you're ready to store it. And then, like I said, store it in the refrigerator. And then this is really good for colds, flus, sinuses. It works really well for sinuses. Anyone who has any upper respiratory issues. Now, I am a PhD chemist, not an MD, medical doctor, okay? Don't take my advice for anything. If you have existing conditions, make sure you seek advice from your primary physician. I've used this. A lot of people have used this. My family has used it for years. I know I have. So don't, I'm not an MD. I'm a PhD. I do know how this works. I know what is incorporated in this. And once we pull it out, I will explain everything to you in detail. What is it actually extracted out? Mine, because of the blueberries, of course, is going to give it like a purple tint. Can you purchase this? Yes, you can. You can purchase it at any Whole Foods store. You can even order it off of Amazon, and they have a variety that you can choose from. I elect to prepare my own because I know what I'm going to place in it, okay? And I know when I extract it that I know the honey is going to be local honey that's going to benefit me, all right? So that's that. So again, if you have any pre-existing conditions like acid reflux, any gastrointestinal issues, ulcers, anything that where you cannot tolerate acidic products or spicy products, because this is hot, spicy, and has a little sweet kick to it, do not try this without consulting with your physician, because you can cause, other issues. So don't jump and buy everything and go in and say, oh, I'm going to prepare some of this. If you know that you have acid reflux, that's just like apple cider vinegar. If you have acid reflux, you don't sit and drink apple cider vinegar. Even though it says you can do 2 tablespoons a day, you know that you need to possibly dilute it, and you need to add honey to it to kind of cut it. And that's the same thing with the fire cider. right? So be very cautious. Do your homework. In a month, I will pull it out and I will explain everything as far as the extraction process and let you know exactly what's in here. And right now, it's the actual ingredients, which I've already explained. But then I'm going to tell you what we're extracting out, why we're extracting it, and what the purpose is or the benefit as far as health-wise, right? So that's going to be it for today. I'm going to end it here. Thank you for joining me. Thanks to all of my subscribers. I greatly appreciate you. If you just stopped through visiting, something caught your eye and you have an interest, thank you for stopping through, and I hope you'll decide to subscribe as well. Please don't forget to like by hitting a thumbs up. That pushes all of the videos out into YouTube logarithm and says it's a positive or it's something worth watching. Also, leave a positive comment below. Share it with someone who has an interest. And also, as I close this, and I always say, let's keep the positive vibes going, not just through the month of September, but indefinitely. We never know what people are going through in their life. We don't know what their focus are. We don't know what their mental issues are. We don't know what they go through in their families, on their jobs, or just in general. So let's keep the positive vibes going. You be nice to others and expect that in return. People treat you usually the way you treat them. That's what I've always learned. So let's stay motivated, encouraged, inspired, and let's also motivate others, encourage others, and inspire others. Pray for those who spitefully use and abuse you, because we know there's a higher power, and he says, vengeance is mine. You do what's right, and right is always going to come back to you. Have a great rest of your Saturday, and I will see you guys on the next bake, no bake, cook, prep, DIY, apothecary. I'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.